All right, I think we're live. This is only my second time doing this. I'm really nervous about it. I'm so nervous I put 2 tea bags in my hot water when I was making it. All right, I think we're on here now. All right, so let us know where you live because we're in Nashville right now and the whole city is shut down because we had about an inch of snow this weekend. No, it's like an inch of snow.
I would say 4 inches.
I don't know.
But the roads are completely clear.
Bone dry. We went out for dinner today because I was like, let's just go see what's happening because school was closed yesterday and then nobody was out today. And then we go to church. In church, they like texted us, my church is closed tomorrow. I'm like, the roads are fine. So we're from New York originally. So 1 inch of snow, 4 inches of snow is not a snow day or a snow week.
Well, I feel like it would be reasonable except for the fact that roads are completely dry.
They're completely
It's like
dry.
There's nothing on the roads at all, so I don't understand what the big deal is right now. But Friday was bad. Friday was rough.
I hate snow. And if you don't know, this is my husband, Daniel, and he's going to help watch this for me. I'd love to answer your questions. Actually, I'm going to turn off my email because I just heard it make that email sound. But I'd love to answer your questions. If you want to leave them in the chat, we can hang out. Let me know, are you a snow person? I feel bad because being from New York, I think people just assume like I love the snow. And I remember my birthday's in March, not being able to go to Blockbuster to rent a video for my birthday. My mom be like, sorry, your birthday is snowed out. And so I don't have fond memories of snow. And you're from Buffalo. So, I mean, you got
we had a ton.
A lot of snow.
There were a couple of
occasions. Oh, look at Buffalo here.
Yeah. There were a couple of occasions where I had like Little League baseball games snowed out in like May, early June. It was infrequent, but like it could happen, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not about that. I'm not about this. So I feel a little off today because normally like we're doing stuff and then suddenly I was like, oh my gosh, it's Saturday and we're supposed to do the live stream with everybody. So yeah.
Right there.
What?
Only like when it's white, not when it's all dirty. Like we were trying to explain it to our kids
because
they were complaining there wasn't enough snow and stuff, and we were telling them how disgusting it gets after like a week or so when you're in a place where it doesn't melt down. Because Buffalo especially, I mean, I remember just like black, dirty snow all over the place. And the other thing, we went back to New York for the first time in 5 years for Christmas. And the first thing I see is this van just covered in like the salt and trash. I just remember like accidentally leaning against cars and how your whole coat and stuff would just be covered in that filth. And there's
it was crazy. It was crazy going back up there. We didn't go up. So if you didn't see, the dirty snow mounds. U.S. Virgin Islands, what temperature is it there? I don't know what it is, but if it's below 65, I'm just bummed. I just feel sad. I want to I don't know. I would like to be there. But we went to New York, and if you didn't see that video, I was trying to find my great-grandmother Lola's gravestone because I had never been there. And, we made the trip to Louisiana a bunch of times, and I thought how weird that I never went to see her at the cemetery in New York. But I was not far enough along in the journey to even care about going to a gravestone. So let me know if you saw that, but it was so cold up there. But the cemetery, it felt nice being in a cemetery with the fog and the snow. I felt like it had the right feeling. So I can't complain too much, but it was bitterly cold up there. It was really cold.
Very cold, and we had no idea where the tomb was.
Yeah, and we had no idea.
Just circling around the thing.
Tomb seems really
plot.
I don't think plot's right here. He doesn't go to cemeteries with me. Like I bring my kids.
Either way, it's like we had no idea where it was, so we were just circling the thing for 45 minutes because it was too cold to get out and walk the thing.
I know,
which eventually we ended up doing, or you.
I did, yeah. I don't mind, but it's like we flew to go see my family, but this was also a big part of pushing me to be like, I'm going to New York in December, is I wanted to go see her gravestone. And so when we got there, I suddenly realized I don't know where it is in the cemetery, because any cemetery I've ever gone to, it's not to visit someone usually, it's just to kind of walk around, look at the old stones. So we had no idea where it was, and we looked so sus driving around that cemetery. I know there were other people there, and I didn't want them to think we were like goofing off, but we were like driving up, hopping out, like I'd be like running down the lane to like is her stone here? No, hop back in the car. But we finally found it. We finally found it. Oh, hi, Miss Sarah. I'm trying to like keep up over here. So I would love to just hang out and answer questions you guys have. Um, it's January. Do you guys have any resolutions about what you're doing? One of my resolutions has been to try to just do a video every Friday. I was in a YouTube masterclass. I got invited by YouTube, which is shocking because you know how much trouble I've had with them. But I think the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. So I got invited to a special class. It was for 8 weeks and it was supposed to help you. It was like a college course. It was like 3 hours a week. Kind of just help you set goals for your channel. And so one of the goals I had was to be more consistent in putting things out. And did that turn off? No, I see it's on here. Okay. Oh my gosh. My computer screen turned off. I thought the camera went off. My heart just sank. And I would love to live stream more. I don't live stream really ever. And so do you have creators that live stream a lot? Like when do they do it? Are they planning it? I don't know. And you don't always have to come, but I have a hard time reading this and catching up.
2 things here. Beth said anything about find a grave. That did help us out, actually. It did. But there was no like explanation as to where the grave was. It was just we got to see a picture of it, so it was a little bit easier to identify.
Yeah. It was a heart.
But there was probably like 40 of the exact same heart-shaped gravestone everywhere in there, so that was hard.
Yeah, we used that.
The other one, yes, I'm Puerto Rican, Mexican, and English.
Is that a question? And this is blocking me. So
it's not really a question.
So weirdly.
I forgot. Did you say your husband's Puerto Rican?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he is. I'm actually working on a video right now because I did the MyHeritage test. Let me know if you took that one. But I did 23andMe. I did MyHeritage. I did Ancestry, DNA. And the MyHeritage one is the one I feel like everyone hates. They're like, this was the worst test. That was my best test. I was like, this one matches my paper trail. But the only weird thing on it was it said I was one of my Ancestry groups, which were really accurate, except for it said it was Puerto Rican. And so I figured it out. And so I have a video. I'm so excited. I don't think I even explained it to you, and I won't right now, but I'm so excited to work on it. I'm going to try to record it tomorrow since we're snowed in for another day and can't. I guess we could go somewhere as nothing's open. It feels like COVID again. We're just like ghost town. Yeah. So spoiler alert, like, I'm not Puerto Rican, but we might be connected. Actually, Daniel and I, when he first took his test, I was really nervous because I started finding like Romeros in my family tree. Like that's my married name. And so I was really scared. And I was like, Daniel, I think we're related maybe distantly. And so I did the thing where on Jed Match where you can like run the 2 kits, and we didn't come up as related, but I think we might have something a little far back there.
Everybody's related.
No, don't. No, I hate that. There's literally no worse
answer
than
that. Like we already have our kids and they're fine, so that would be the biggest concern if it turned out that there was some sort of inbreeding.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, this person is saying that they X the wrong one. I'm gonna try to make my videos of me singing. I'm gonna be comfortable. I haven't found a place where I can feel okay with me. I'm working on. I would never sing in public. I can't even imagine. I feel like somehow my voice would come out like this is a voice I've never used before because I'd be so nervous. Daniel has a really good voice. I know I'm not going to put him on the spot. No, it is. He did a lot of songs for me on the channel. I think he might have a secret YouTube channel for his music. Is that true?
No.
I'm going to find out and I'll let you guys know. I think he might. Even I don't know about it. I think it's that secret. Funky fandom. Nice to see you. No DNA test. Are you not taking the test because of the possible exploitation of data, or you just haven't gotten around to it? Daniel didn't want to take it. I think you care about your privacy. I clearly don't have any concern about privacy. I'm like, come hang out. I'll tell you how I'm feeling. But you did take the DNA test. I can't remember why you did it though, because you were against it.
You just wanted me to do it real bad, and so. But yeah, I do digital marketing and a lot of analytics, so I know how much this data is abused. So I try to keep myself as off the internet and disconnected as I possibly can.
He knows because he's abusing it.
Yeah, I am exploiting it to reach people all the time. So like I have the special sliders on my camera, on my computer, things like that.
He's got everything locked down. And I think somehow we got an Alexa from someone or it came with something. It's never come out of the box. It's never been plugged in. It's probably still transmitting all our private stuff. But Daniel's like, we are never using any of this stuff. And I felt really bad. So I'm like, everyone's using it. And look how fun it is to be like, Alexa, send more paper towels. And he's like, you don't even know what they're doing with that information. But suffice it to say, I didn't care about the DNA stuff. And I checked the little box that said, like, do not let the police use this. I don't think it matters. On GEDmatch, there's this option if you upload your raw data, it's like a police sign that's crossed out. And so I slid that over for myself.
This is crazy. There's a Buffalo, a Syracuse, a Rochester. I feel like I'm back home.
That's crazy. Is there anything from back in Western New York that you could shout out that people would know? I went to visit your friends out there once when your friends was graduating college.
That wasn't Western.
Where was that?
That was Binghamton.
That's Western New York.
No, it's like middle of New York. It's basically Pennsylvania.
No.
My time back, so I used to go to Syracuse for my orthodontist, which didn't work out because he died before my braces came off, so my teeth still don't look like they're fixed.
I can't just...
Rochester, most of my family is from the Rochester area, so all of the Puerto Rican side that kind of estranged from, they're out there still. My mom's side of the family is all over there. I used to go to the Grease Ridge Mall, stuff like that.
I don't know what that's. I feel like
Buzzo's could be a shout out if you guys know that.
What's Buzzo's?
It's a guitar store.
Oh. There was a pizza place we went to.
I used to like Pontillo's pizza.
Is that the pizza we had?
I don't know if you've ever had it.
Pizza was really weird in Western New York. So here's the thing. I know that I do have Italian heritage, but Daniel had more of an Italian American experience than I ever had. He grew up around so many.
K-Stone knows Pontillo's.
The Pontillo's. And so sometimes I'll be like saying something to the kids about like, oh, Italian Americans, blah, blah. He's like, no, that's not true. That's not how you pronounce that. I'm like, okay, sorry. But he said there was a lot of Italian Americans out there. A lot of Polish Americans too.
Yeah, pretty much all my friends growing up were Italian or Polish. Like that was it. And like usually it was one of their grandparents spoke whatever the native language was, either Polish or some dialect of Italian.
That's crazy. Yeah. We just yelled in our house. I don't know what ethnic group that's connected to. Yelled. Funky Fathom was saying, I haven't ruled the DNA testing out. I think of this supplemental to my DNA history search once everything else is exhausted. I think that's really smart. What do you think, though? I don't know if I would have made it as far.
I missed it 'cause I was reading something else.
Sorry. He was just saying that he hasn't ruled out DNA testing, but he's treating it supplementally. Like, is that a word, supplementally? Doing it. I mean, to me, I needed it. I don't know if you're going to get picked up.
I don't know. I personally don't care. I'm not a good person to answer this because I don't care that much about most of this. But the family story stuff is more important to me than what I actually am. Like if I took a test and turned out that I was Korean or something, it wouldn't really change anything about my life.
That is so ridiculous.
Except that I would bother people with it. I would talk about it all the time. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's I care more about like the lineage of who is where or whatever than I do about what ethnically am I. It just doesn't matter to me at all.
I just have to read this because I could scream about Italian Americans are infamous for mispronouncing everything, including their own names. Let me tell you, I did a video where I was talking about my maiden name, and I know that my maiden name, we mispronounce it, but that's how I grew up. That's what I grew up being told, and it's Italian. It's a like a Neapolitan last name or something, and so someone was letting me know in the comments from Italy. They're like, "You're saying your name wrong." It's like, well, it's not my name anymore. But it's like, well, can you do? But also, I do mispronounce words. I don't know if it's because that might just be my own problem. And blame it on my family. Also, look at this great. I have this tortilla blanket I got for Christmas. I've been so cold. So I was thinking about wearing it on the live stream, and I thought I'm better than that, so I'll just wear a sweatshirt. But we'll put my tortilla blanket here. South Philly, mostly Italian.
The other thing this person's warning about, be prepared for that. What you grew up knowing could drastically change. I think the bigger concern is that you're suddenly possibly going to find a bunch of weird family members, and what you grew up thinking about other family members in terms of morality might go right out the window.
Yeah, that's true.
I think pretty much everyone I know who's done one of these tests has had some sort of like hidden relative showing up, which could be nice. It also could be a really weird complication. I've seen both sides of that.
Well, it's horrible for us. Like, we're the hidden relative. And so there are people that I've decided not to reach out to. Like, we found out, if you aren't familiar, when we took the DNA test, it was supposed to kind of find out about my Louisiana side. And then it turned out that my mom's dad was not her biological dad, which was just, I felt really bad about that. And for uncovering it. But then I was kind of curious, like, who is he? And so I had a DNA angel help me. And if you haven't used one, they're amazing. I found her on Facebook, and it's like DNA, like A angel. But they do the research for free if you have taken the DNA test. If you're trying to find a parent, they do that if you were adopted, and they're able to triangulate. And so we found the guy, and he's alive, but we're not going to reach out to him. As of now, but he's still alive. He's like in his 90s. I'm like, awesome. Like, that's good, right? Okay, let's see. My nephew came as my cousin. Sarah, was that just a weird thing that happened, Sarah, or was that like a family switch around? This person was saying it, Christopher Wellmetz, we were growing up in a step family of Italian heritage. I wonder how they taught me things that were unique compared to other cultures. The family members, Bradford Sanders said, the family members I already knew on my dad's side are weird. Yeah, it's really interesting to think about, like, what if we reached out to these people, but they don't know we exist? And I think that's probably okay. Unless, I mean, I can't think of a time where we would reach out. I don't know. So, okay, let's see. Thank you, Monty Mason. I appreciate that so much. Isabel Wilkerson just came up. I think if you saw the video I did with Charlie Peacock, who's really Charlie Ashworth, he's of the Redbone Ashworth family. He was talking about Isabel Wilkerson's books and the impact they had on him. I actually haven't read them, it's crazy because there's so many things. I'm like, I know I want to get to those books, but my nightstand has like 12 books I'm working through just randomly. So I need to do more. Do I have Cajun ancestry? So I know that that's like a real, like people argue about that, but my ancestry DNA test said that we had Acadian, Cajun. It was one of our groups. Like, one of the groups was Louisiana Creoles and African Americans, then early Louisiana Creoles, African Americans. Then there was a Mexican group, which I don't know how they did that. And then there was an Acadian group. But we do have French. So I don't know. Can you be Cajun without that? I don't know. I'm not sure. You have to let me know. Berlin, Germany. What time is it there? What day is it there? Is it tomorrow? It's probably tomorrow, right?
I have no idea. It just made me think about that most mysterious song on the internet that was finally just solved. Because wasn't that like out of Berlin?
This may be outside of my friends here, but there was this song that was found. It's called The Most Mysterious Song in the World. Basically, nobody knew whose song it was. It had like been played on a radio, I think in East Berlin before the wall came down, or somebody trying to find out who wrote this song, what are the lyrics. It was kind of garbled. And like, I've been following this for years. My kids know about this. And like 2 weeks ago, they figured out who the band was. It was a German band. That's my extent. That's my knowledge of Germany right now. German news is that. I know there's more. 3 a.m. in the morning.
Like for you to answer.
What is it?
What would you describe your race to be?
A race. Race is weird because I would say most forums, race is the color, right? I've read some weird stuff on forums. I'm like, I feel like they're conflating stuff.
It's also just muddled up.
when I truly have to fill out a box that has a form, I check off multiple things. I do, but I never check off white. I always write an Italian on that one. I don't know why, because I just feel like it seems weird. So one of the ones that I've had a hard time figuring out is if I should check off Hispanic, because like technically I guess I would be, but I wasn't raised with any of that. And that's a video that actually I'm working on right now, is talking about the Spanish speaking side of the family, which is weird to me because I don't speak Spanish. I can barely speak English. So but Daniel's family spoke Spanish. His grandpa started a Spanish speaking church In California? Was it in California or New York?
That was in Rochester.
Oh, it was Rochester.
The first Spanish-speaking Nazarene church in Rochester.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is like interesting. I wish Daniel would do more stuff because I feel like you've got a lot of weird stuff in your family too.
What would I do? What do you mean?
I don't know. Just sit and talk about your family stuff.
I'm right here.
I don't know.
I talked about the other day and everybody got mad at me.
No, everyone liked that video.
No, you sent me a bunch of complaints.
Oh yeah, Daniel did a video. I'm really messing up this thing. Can you I feel like I can't see. I did a video with Daniel, and I don't know if you caught it, but there were a lot of people who were upset because he's saying he identifies as white, and everyone was like, "You don't look white to me." And every time I saw that, I just texted it to him with no context. So maybe that made you a little shy about coming up.
I couldn't care any less.
That's so funny. Beth was saying, I appreciate your video on Iron Eyes Cody. I knew a cattle guy who grew up with him as an elder in his community. He felt like it was wrong how people treated Iron Eyes. I would love to hear more about that. I was really shocked because I think that commercial was a little older than us, but I remember seeing it when I was young. You know the commercial where it's like supposed to be, it's the crying Indian where he's
the
going
littering
through,
one.
Yeah, the littering one. Yeah. And I did a video on that.
I used to watch TV Land almost exclusively, so
you saw that.
All the old commercials. Older than me, I used to watch this.
Yeah, so I don't know if I told you, I don't even send Daniel all my videos, but he was Sicilian.
Yeah, I knew that.
Oh, you did? Yeah. You already, a long time ago you knew that? Oh. Well, anyway, I just thought it was really interesting because he was like the Hollywood Indian. I was like, oh, he's a Sicilian guy. It was really interesting. Let's see here. Who is saying race is a political construct. If you don't want a group to mix in and they look different, you call them a different race. You used to have the Mediterranean Gaelic races, but no more. What was interesting is, I think it's my third grandfather, and his name was Alberto Simon. And he was born in Louisiana, but his family was really from San Antonio, Texas, and he ended up dying there. He's buried in one of the mission cemeteries, and his race changed a bunch of times. He was listed as mulatto, and then his parents were listed as mulatto, and they had Spanish last names. And then later in 1910, his race was listed as Spanish, which is just like the stupidest thing I ever heard. But he did speak Spanish. And then his death certificate, he was white. And it's just all nonsense. But it was so interesting, too. So we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about what was happening at the time. There was a court case. There was a Mexican man from Texas who was trying to become a citizen. They said he couldn't because he wasn't white. And I think it's Ricardo Rodriguez in 1896. And so we're going to talk about that court case. And that's when Mexicans were considered white. So I guess you're not wrong.
I mean, I don't know. I don't walk around saying I'm white or anything like that, but I feel like it would be disingenuous if I'm going to select one of those to pick any of the others, because I think that's the one that most closely applies to me. But
yeah, I'm gonna set my knees, so I'm gonna be a little taller.
That's fine. I always I'm pretty straightforward about Mexican, Puerto Rican, English. Usually I'll just drop the Puerto Rican because I don't really have a lot of connection to that side of the family. I just say Mexican and English, but
yeah,
I mean, that seems more accurate to me than saying just white.
Yeah, one of the things we've been trying to do in the family is I want the kids to it's so hard, especially when I feel like when you have a lot of backgrounds, but you're not, I don't really feel like I totally belong to any of them all the way. And I want them to be exposed. So we've been making a lot of our food at home, like from scratch at home. And I taught my 10-year-old, she was helping me make tortillas from scratch for Christmas Eve. And we made the green and red enchiladas for Christmas Eve and did all of that. And that was really good. I'm afraid to make Creole food for 1,000 reasons. 1,000. One of them being crawfish. That's like the major reason I'm terrified. So if you have a gumbo recipe or something like that that does not include a whole crawfish.
Vegetarian gumbo.
I would eat with chicken, but I don't want to touch a crawfish. But even aside from that, are you guys eating the whole thing? Like the eyeballs, everything just goes in the pot? Am I misunderstanding how that works? Have you had a crawfish?
I don't think I've had crawfish.
What is a crawfish? Is it like
I caught them before. I caught them and accidentally killed them because I didn't know they needed running water. So as a kid, I caught them, just like shoved them in an aquarium.
That's really sad.
And then they were not doing well the next day.
How long did it take?
Like a day. They might not have been dead. They were not moving really. I just threw them back into the stream that I grabbed them from. So,
they were holding their breath, waiting.
Yeah, hopefully they perked back up.
Oh, that's well. I want to start doing more food because it just feels like you're really doing something, you know, with what you're researching. But what's really dumb is that for a lot of the Italian food, like we didn't grow up with like family recipes. And I realized a lot of the Italian food I'm making is just not Italian, except for pizza margherita, which is from Naples, which is where my great-grandparents were from. So we've been practicing that a little bit at the house. Ancestors from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Tommy Romero. How wonderful. This is so crazy, Tommy, because I am literally going to send an email tomorrow to my friend who's a genealogist, Juan Zapata, and he works on kind of Mexican Southwestern genealogy. And I was going to see if he could help me to figure that out because Santa Fe, New Mexico is my favorite place in the whole world. And if I have an ancestor from there, if I can like be sure, because I don't trust my work as much as his, I'll be really happy. It's my favorite. Daniel and I went like a year ago to Santa Fe. It was awesome. It's really nice. Okay, crayfish or crawdads, Carl's saying. You cook the whole thing, but you eat the tail like lobsters. Okay, so I haven't had a lobster. I haven't had any of those things. I think in part because my favorite movie as a little girl, like really little, was The Little Mermaid. And there's a scene where there's a French cook and he's chasing after the crab and he's got all these stuffed crabs. And I just hated it. So I have never had a crab. I've never had a crawdad or a crayfish or underwater bugs. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. I agree.
Don't they call them mud bugs?
Mud bugs. That just doesn't sound good to me. Like, I don't know. But here's the thing. I would taste it if someone made it for me, but I can't bring it into the house and do that. I'm scared. There's a creek behind our house. So I know that they're in though. They're like this big.
Yeah, I wouldn't eat anything we caught over here.
No one eat crawdads
you
from
have a
Nashville.
problem with like pretty much any seafood. You're not a seafood person.
No, I'm not a seafood person. Let's see. Sarah was saying, Danielle, have you thought about offering lives to get those help with DNA research? Of course, for a fee for your time. I would love to do that. I just don't know if I'm really any good at it for that. I would say I'd be welcome. I'd be happy to do it. But there's 3 genealogists who I have worked with who I can just say they're amazing. First is Alex Lee. He's my cousin. He does a lot of the Louisiana Creole genealogy, Cajun genealogy. He's on Facebook at Alex Genealogy. The second I have used is Amy Cross, and she has a YouTube page that's amazing. It's AIMEE Cross. And then Juan Zapata I've used, and he does the Mexican American genealogy. I'd be happy to help. I really don't know what I'm doing half the time now. So you know, making mistakes in public.
Question.
Which one?
Do you think DNA tests lie about some Americans being English mostly?
That's interesting. I didn't get any English. I didn't get any English, and there were a couple other things I was really surprised that I didn't get. But I have heard that one of the problems with the DNA tests is that if groups aren't being sampled, like they can't be represented. And so I was pretty sure France wasn't allowing DNA tests. So like
I don't know why there would be an attempt to lie about that. I would assume that there's still plenty of Americans who are primarily English just based on the fact that they came over in such a large number. Like on my DNA test, I mean, all the stories that we had growing up about like, you know, you could basically trace us back to the Mayflower on my mom's side.
Yeah. Is that true?
All of that seemed to be completely true because it was very cleanly split. Like everything that I've been told growing up about what was mixed in there was very well represented. Like my mom's side was pretty much exclusively English, which is what we always knew to be true. I think there's like the variation on that side is, well, there's a little bit of Welsh, but it's like, it's not really a difference there.
Right.
So I think, you know, especially in the Northeast, parts of the Northeast, there's
a lot of Irish
pockets
too.
where it's like, I mean, there's virtually nothing going on except for English and German. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to thank someone for saying, thank you so much. Is it I don't know how to say that. Silage67. Thank you so much for that. I want to tell a story. Hopefully my parents aren't on here. I didn't warn them about this. I don't want to embarrass my mom.
How did you even
but
scroll up? was.
Oh, I scrolled up. But when I was a little girl, like, okay, a little girl, I'm almost 40, so I feel like anything under 25 is a little girl. But I was like maybe 10 or 11. And I would wait for my mom to pick me up from school if I had volleyball practice or something. And I remember when all the moms would be coming in from where we lived in New York. And I always felt just the nicest warm feeling when I saw my mom, because she did not have the same kind of face as the other moms at all. And I always told myself, well, it's because she's so French. Like, she's so French that she has this face that just stands out. And then when she took the DNA test, I was like, okay.
I want to thank Los Coast TV. You're beautiful. Thank you.
Appreciate it. You are. You have nice long eyelashes. Bohemian genetically. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Hey, Alex. I was just talking about you on here because people were asking me to do a live to help with stuff. I was like, I can't really help with anything. And so you and Juan Zapata and Amy Cross are the genealogists that I bother a lot. And Alex is amazing. And he knows how to do a live. Like, I've watched some of yours, Alex, and you are so comfortable in front of the camera. I'm still getting there.
See, this is the kind of stuff where I immediately get in trouble.
Oh,
making just general statements.
Yeah. Okay, so let's
I understand the Welsh is not exactly
D13 N-word. I don't know if it's something else. Welsh are mostly Celtic and have their own language. I'd be pissed off if you said they were English. Pretty ignorant comments. This is what I say to Daniel, because I'm like, people, you can't lump them all in together. That's why I feel like checking off white on the census form is kind of stupid. I think maybe if I had any English at all, maybe I'd be okay with it. But
by the way, I'm Welsh, so back off.
Yeah, how really?
I just said.
Yeah, but how much?
It was a decent chunk. I don't remember it because we deleted all my information as soon as it came through. Like that was the other.
That was the caveat.
It was like, we could get the data and then shut it down as fast as possible. But it was fairly significant on her side. It was mostly English, but that was like the other call out. Oh no, these are coming in too fast.
I have Daniel on here so he can help me answer some stuff. I would love to dig into is it Celtic, or I get confused because of the Celtics.
Yeah, Celtics are if you're in Boston.
Celtic with a C, and I think it's still the C, but you say Celtic if it's not the Boston basketball team. You'll have to let me know because I don't totally know. Bohemian equals Czech. Cloud Dragon Arch was saying Bohemia, Slovakia, Moravia. That is so cool. I don't know if I ever put that together.
What?
That Bohemian, she's saying Bohemian is the same as Czech. Bohemia, Slovakia, Moravia. Wow. There are so many things I still don't know, and like words that we use. My daughter is she's turning 11 and she wants to redo her verb a little bit. And we were hanging out on Pinterest looking at stuff, and she ended up on some board that was like Bohemian style. She's like, "What is that?" I was like, "I don't know."
How much percent African are you? I'm assuming that's to you.
Not to me? Me. Tell us if it's for you or me. Here's the weird thing. The test changed a lot because when I first took it, I had 15% North African and then 6% Nigerian. North African was just lumped in. But then it went down. But then you had more African than I had, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe South African. I don't know how you, not South African. South African.
I can't remember.
It was
I can't remember if they.
I hate to say they say sub-Saharan.
They called it West African.
West African. I don't think you're supposed to say that anymore, though.
I don't know. Either way, it was somewhere on the western side. I don't remember how deep it went, but I think I was 7% or something, 6%.
I don't know. That must be from Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah, it's definitely Puerto Rican side. Because again, following the family stories, it all added up perfectly to what I've heard.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, Celtic is a hard C. Celtics are a basketball team. I know Larry Bird. That's all I know about the Celtics. But I do want
to. About Joe Mazzulla because I.
Oh yeah, Joe Mazzulla. That's right. He sends me a lot of stuff about Joe Mazzulla because he's hilarious, and I love him. But I did want to research. Well, I don't know if I told you this, but I was working on just the Irish stuff. I was trying to figure out why did they come over here? I think I know, but apparently the grandfather that came over from Ireland is a second grandfather. He was on a ship, and I found the manifest, but he was working on the ship. I think he was I don't know how you even say it. It wasn't a deckhand, but he was that. And then he just bailed and stayed in New York and never went back. So I would like to figure that out. But I don't know what part. I think he said like he was from Northern Ireland, but they were Catholic, so it didn't really make sense. So I don't know.
Oh, I know that name. Choctaw Apache tribe of Ebarb in Louisiana.
Wait, where is I'm missing? Oh, okay. Denise Kennedy. I've been following your journey. I knew nothing about my family, DNA test, enrolled. Okay, so I can enroll in that tribe, but I have not. The Choctaw Apache tribe of Ebarb in Louisiana. That tribe, if you're not familiar, it's kind of in the no man's land strip. Like that's where a lot of the families are. Not far from Natchitoches, Louisiana, where my mom's grandmother grew up. But that side of the family is like, I think we're related to Procella, Cordova, Padilla. I didn't enroll because I don't know how I feel about doing that process. Like, I don't know. I'm not totally sure how I feel about it.
Did you do a video on Freddie Mercury?
No. But we talk about Freddie Mercury all the time in our house.
Queen is probably my favorite band of all time. Yeah. And he's a weird, interesting character. I think his real name is Farouk Balsara or something like that. We changed Freddie Mercury.
Yeah, and our 5-year-old has his exact body. Like, I tried to convince him, his name's Manny, I tried to convince him to dress as Freddie Mercury for Halloween. And he likes Queen, but he decided he wanted me to make him a homemade cotton candy costume. So he did that instead of Freddie Mercury, maybe next year. But that would be an interesting video. The Italian surname of your Neapolitan ancestors. Okay, so I think it was originally Brignole. Brignole, I think, because that's also a place in Italy. But then my dad and his dad, who spoke Neapolitan, so I don't know why, pronounced it Brignola, like Brignola. Every Italian who's ever heard it has just absolutely freaked out. I'm like, that's not how you pronounce it. That's not the like, and I believe them. So I don't know if it was just a casualty of Ellis Island, or I don't know how that happens, but I don't know.
This person's saying
Brignole, maybe, yeah, because that's my my dad's family, and so they're from Naples, like for a long time, just from that area, or like Durisano. So I need to figure that out. Let's see. Freddie Mercury has Persian ancestors. Wingfield Twyman, nice to see you. He said, my 7th grandfather was an English indentured servant who landed in Virginia in 1607 aboard a ship called Recovery. He ran away from his master, Thomas Lee, an indentured servant from England. That's interesting. That is not a thing that you hear a lot about. I think also the term indenture that I'm learning is different. Like people are coming and they want to have their way paid to get here. And the terms are sometimes worse than other terms and things like that. Your family, though, was not indentured servants. I think they probably...
I don't think so.
I think they were probably owning my family.
They never... I don't know what was happening in the very early stages, but they fought on the northern side, at least. I know we had some pretty strong abolitionists on my mom's side. But I think they had their own crest and stuff, so I'm guessing they were not indentured servants.
I don't think we had a crest. Hi, Damon. I just saw you on it. Stole a crest. Yeah, something has been interesting.
The Mexican side would have stolen it, and that's not a knock against Mexicans. That's
just how your grandpa's family rolled. You had a great family, but they were very colorful in the way they handled things and the way they arrived in America. Yeah, the Confederate thing is really interesting because like I was raised in New York, and so if you were raised in the North, I apologize if this comes off blunt, but like I for sure know that I was raised to be like the South. It was so backward and ignorant, and this is why they lost. And so then we moved down to Nashville about 16 years ago, and as I'm finding out, like, oh, I have really strong ties to the South. Like my mom's Gramps from there, and then finding out that I had ancestors who were forced to enlist as Confederates. These are free men of color, the grandsons of previously enslaved people who were Confederate soldiers. And I think it's so weird and tangled. So I'm a Yankee, but really I'm not. So I don't think I have any family that fought for the Union at all, because the rest of my family came over way too late.
It would have been late.
They came over in the 1920s, yeah. Let's see. Freddie Mercury is Indian. Lito, let's see.
Pretty intense.
Which
Fourth
one?
cousin 3 times removed was Robert E. Lee.
Wow.
Wow. How do you feel about all the Robert E. Lee statues being pulled down?
Yeah.
As a relative.
That's interesting. That's crazy. Yeah, here in Nashville, there's still a lot of stuff named Robert E. Lee. Yeah, they didn't pull down. Like, there's streets around the high school and stuff near us. They didn't pull that stuff down. Let's see. I saw you were on the news. Was I on the news? If I was, I didn't know. And that makes me, you'll have to send me a link. I don't know what that is. Afrophysicist, isn't that the greatest name? Afrophysicist, thank you so much. It's the greatest username. I'm super jealous. Thank you. You inspired me to trace my roots. Obviously, I'm Black, but I found I'm descended from a slave from Tennessee. He ran away during the Civil War and enlisted in the Union Army. He married a native lady. That's so interesting. So maybe, I don't know if you've done research or not, around Nashville, but there's a plantation here called Belmead Plantation, and it's like really close by. And someone just emailed me. I saw it today. Maybe it was like a couple days ago. Mr. Ray Carter and their relatives, their descendants of people who were enslaved at that plantation. They're going to be speaking in like 2 weeks, and I really want to go to it. So, was your family from that area, or are they more from like the Appalachian area? Because Tennessee has some different kinds of stuff. I feel like Nashville feels so different than going out east.
It even feels different now than when I first moved here. Because I first moved here, as soon as I turned 18, I dropped out of college and just came down here. And there were pockets where it was still very southern, and I feel like that's just gone now.
That's true.
If you're in Nashville proper and then you go over to like Smyrna or something, like I can't understand what people.
We have to give some context. So there's like a small area, maybe 30-ish minutes from Nashville. Sometimes like if our Target's out of something, you have to like make the trek out there too. It's a different county, but we went out there, and like in the checkout line, I could not understand what these people were saying. Like they all understood each other. It wasn't just like this person, was having a hard time saying something. I could not understand what was going on. And I just realized how Nashville is just, it's not what it was before. It's because of people like me showing up, or you showing up. But it used to be weirder because when we first moved down here, I know I told you this, but when we first moved down here, it was winter. And I remember we were like trying to find our grocery store or whatever. And I went to the grocery store a couple weeks later. It was March, so it was warm here, and I had a tank top on, and I was buying milk, and the guy at Publix came up and he tapped me on the shoulder like this, and he was like, "I just want to know if you were Spanish." And I was like, "What?" And like I just totally froze. Instead of just being like, "That's weird" or something, I was like, "Oh, I don't know." It was before I took my test, but that's gone. Like people aren't gonna see me and be like shocked. Even me, like that was super weird, but.
Yeah, that's weird.
No,
but
that's
I feel
really
like that's
weird.
just weird stuff just happens.
He wasn't mean, but it was just weird. I don't know. It was like it felt like my first introduction to like coming down south, where that would not have happened to me. I don't feel like in New York. Let's see. I hate being Robert Richards said, "I hate being stereotyped as white. My Anglos from my mother's side who landed in Norfolk and split up from there. They killed each other in the Civil War." Do you mean? What do you mean by that? Do you mean like you had Union and Confederate in the family? That sounds like a family story. I want to hear. I want to hear about that one. That's super interesting. Cody Sparks was saying there's a lot of great stories to find here in the U.S., but have you ever considered covering ancestral stories from elsewhere, like in Latin America? That's interesting. The My Heritage test is really weird. The one thing that was weird about it is it didn't give me the Mexican, like indigenous Mexican, like my mom had, my mom's uncle had, and my grandmother had. It gave me like the Andean mountain region, and I was like, well, that's wrong. But it was like a lot. It was like 8% or something. So I thought about seeing what the connection is. Maybe there's some connection with people. I don't know, but I think that would be super interesting. Let's see. Carol said Nashville in the 60s and 70s was very unique. Each section of the county had its own dialect.
I feel like Nashville in the early 2000s was still very unique, and now it's just become like a busy, dangerous bachelorette destination.
It's a busy bachelorette party. It definitely is. It definitely is. Leonard Matthews, as a former teacher, where do you think this fits into education? I have to say, so I homeschool my kids now, in part because I was really disappointed about COVID, like how it was handled. And I don't think my kids would have been able to do well with what the expectations were with that. But also I hated not being able to just freely teach. Like you were literally following a script and you had to like, everyone knew what the script was. And if the principal came in, you weren't on script, like you're in trouble. But I think it's super important to just talk about what was required as far as becoming a citizen in the US before. I think it's important, and it's not with the intent of being divisive or anything, but I do think it matters. I think this is where Daniel and I, we disagree a little bit, but just knowing the history of you couldn't be a citizen unless you were white, and why so many problems stem from that. Why it's like the land grab, like everyone trying to be white because everyone wants to be a citizen and not be disenfranchised. So I think that's really important. And I wish there was a way to talk about the history without all of the guilt and the aggression. Not that we shouldn't have feelings about it, but it's preventing us from even having the conversation, which I think we need. Afrophysicist, oh, thank you. With the ancestry test, what did I really mean? I get 85% African, 13% European, 2% Native American. The Native American is tricky. What helped us, because ours was so low, was looking at the communities. I don't know if you saw that with the ancestry DNA, they do communities. I think 23andMe is doing it now, but that helped kind of like isolate the area. So like for our native, like I said, it was so low, but I could see where it was. It was like Coahuila and then going up to San Antonio, which I knew matched with the family story. That African, I mean, here's the thing though, my numbers changed so much. Like I said, when I first took the test, that if we're talking about the continent of Africa, which is ridiculous to lump that in, that seems crazy, but the continent of Africa, it was probably 19-20% African, but I feel like that's not really a fair way. If you heard that, it's like I'm not 20% African.
No. Wasn't a big portion of that Egypt?
That's what I'm saying though. It was Egypt, yeah. But that's Africa, and I just feel like the way we talk about it is so weird. Now I don't even know if that's real. Who knows? But it was Egypt, and then Iran, and then I had like Nigeria in there.
Yeah, I mean it's I guess it would be kind of like saying North America as a group, and it's like, are you
Canadian or
are you like an indigenous Mexican from the southern tip, or are you a French, explorer?
Are you an explorer right now? That's really funny. Let's see. Mod Girl 2001 said, "Hi there, Danielle. I've been following your videos for a while. Thank you. As a fellow teacher and historian, I've loved your channel about teaching American history. Thank you for your research." I appreciate it. It's really humbling to admit that I paid for a master's degree in education, and my undergrad was in history, but I didn't learn any of this stuff. Any of that, and I love to read, but it took me looking into my family story to really get to the bottom of this. And there's still, I don't know where the bottom is. I'm still digging, but it's very humbling to call yourself a historian or a teacher and really not understand some of the fundamental parts of the story for our nation. So trying to fix that.
I need to know what this is about.
Fister. Oh, look, it's the brother who says that no white man could cut his hair. Oh no, that's not him. That's not him. That's Luke.
Oh.
No. This is no. Luke, my brother, but this is my husband. My brother Luke was I think it was a little bit tongue in cheek. So I did a video with two of my brothers last Christmas. And one of the videos was my brother Chris, who spent a lot of time in Italy he met some of our family. And the other was with my youngest brother, Luke, who we were just talking because he's the youngest kid and he wasn't around a lot of the family members the same way I was. I was just like, how do you feel about this weird thing I found? And he's game. He just sat down and talked. But yeah, he had said that he's had trouble getting his hair cut well. He has to be really careful about what barbers he goes to. But now he's in Florida, so I think he's probably okay.
Yeah, in fairness, nobody is allowed to cut my hair except for me.
Yeah, I cut my own hair too. We cut our own hair. We cut our own hair in this house, and it's not because of COVID. It's because I brought my daughter to get her hair done once when she was like 9, and it was over $100, and she just got trim. I was like, nope.
For me, it's just because I don't have enough hair to justify paying somebody, so I just take a razor to it every shower.
I just do a little snip here and there. Let's see here. There's so many good questions. Okay, Winkfield Twyman, this is a good question. I hope we can do a video together. I would love to talk with you. But he said, maybe genetic knowledge is a way to overcome the white guilt. I would love an America where we don't feel so reliant on using the term white as a stand-in for what we don't know about ourselves. And again, if people want to still say, I like using white, if you're like, I like using it, I know that you don't, but I'm saying whatever. If someone's like, it means something to me, like, go ahead. Like, I'm not going to dictate that, but do it in an informed way, right? Do you know your ancestry? Is your family from Ireland? Like, connect to that. You know, what were the family names? What language did they speak? Where did they live? What kind of food did they make? And I feel like that's an important step. I'll get off my soapbox now with that. Okay, let's see. Some of these, I might have missed some good ones. You got radicalized in college, and that explains it. Oh, I'm super conservative. I seriously am a very conservative person. Like, we're Christians. I homeschool my kids. We make all our food from scratch. I don't do sourdough starters, so I'm not that conservative. But
raw milk.
No raw milk either. No, I'm not swinging with that crowd. But I went to college so long ago. Like, I was in college 20 years ago, so I don't think anything happened. And I was reading Russian literature for my undergrad. Like, I majored in Russian literature and American history because I wanted to read Dostoevsky in Russian. So no one radicalized me. I was like a total loner. Total loner. Let's see, Bradford Senders. I'm holding on to my 2% Irish. Good for you. There's something about the Irish. I love being Irish. Let's see.
Yeah, I feel like this kind of goes back to what I was saying.
Who is it? So I can just call out
cash flow hustles. Terms white and black seem to be more popular than direct ethnic or national references. I feel like it's kind of stupid. Like,
wait, which part? Which stupid?
The like rolling up to white, black, whatever. It's like, it makes more sense to me to look at the most closely tied, ethnic background that you have.
Like, are you Italian American? Are you?
Yeah, whatever? Like it's so strange to me to roll it up into these other things. It's not like we're dogs. You're not talking about like mastiffs versus terriers or something like that. Like,
some people would beg to differ. I've gotten some crazy comments. That's where like the mongrelizing comes in. But I agree, but I think we've just gotten so used to it, Afrophysicist. Oh, I love what you're bringing here. It's unfortunate your content sometimes brings hateful people. How do you deal with it? Oh my gosh, we laugh so hard. We laugh. What usually happens is Daniel does like these marathon workouts where he's lifting weights in the garage for so long. I'll be like going through comments. I'll send screenshots of the worst ones so that we can laugh about them. But actually, I did decide that I'm going to start doing one video a month out of my 4 where I respond to a comment, not because a comment bothers me, but it's the teacher in me. Or I'm like, if you have either a disruptive student, or B, a disruptive student who always has their hand up, I want to model how to respond to that. And so I think that's important. So I think the next Friday's video is me responding to someone who told me I won't shut up about white people. So that's a really fun one. So
the Impress Mod Girl 2001 has confirmed that I was right on the name. I may have butchered the pronunciation, but that's what I was trying to say. I would assume that's pronounced Farouk Bulsara.
Oh, for
Freddie Mercury.
Oh, you got it. That would be a really interesting video to do. I would really like to do that. Let's see. Anyone who disagrees is hateful. I don't mind if someone disagrees with me, honestly. I think it's really great to have conversations where we disagree, because if that's not happening, I know I'm not challenged. I need to at least challenge what I believe, and I may challenge it and still find that I hold fast to it. But I mean, how boring. And Daniel and I don't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, and I think that is what I like so much about the relationship. It's so boring if you're afraid. I don't feel like they're haters, but this person definitely was in this video. Let's see. Q&A, lost art online for sure, for sure. Disagree without being disagreeable. I agree with that. I agree with that as well. We need to learn from disagreements and be willing to just hear the other side. It's just totally lost in our society. And I feel like I have the nicest people on the internet in my comment section for the most part, and it's just a couple sprinkled in who haven't learned how to do that. And I think, like, come on over and hang out with us. But yeah, okay, let's see. There might be a little thing going on here I'm missing. Let's see. Bradford Sanders saying, I just say white because my family's been in the U.S. for many generations. So if anything, I'm an American. I agree. I feel like at the end of the day, that's probably the most important designator. But I don't know, in a perfect world, right? None of that matters. And, at the end, I also really see myself as a New Yorker. People are like, what are you? I'm like, well, if you want to know who I really am, explaining that I'm from New York probably will tell you more than if I say, like, I'm white, I'm black, I'm whatever. You're going to know more about me if I do that. Maybe people should walk around with little pins about, like, what state were you born in, because I feel like that would help me know more about you. Like, if you're from Vermont, you're drinking raw milk.
I don't know. Wearing identifying pins just feels like that's been tried and didn't work out super well.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe a friendly T-shirt. I don't know. Let's see. I wanted you to complete My Raisins one, the passing series. I wanted to see your reaction. So I actually had recorded. There's a show called Passing, and it was this girl's amazing documentary where they locate cousins who were lost to that decision to kind of cut off from the family. But I ran into a lot of problems because they use a lot of music in that series, and I don't have the license for those songs. So I have to figure out a way to block out the sound, but sometimes they play music while someone's talking. So I'm working on that because I wanted to finish that too. It's a really good series. It's really good. Let's see, do you see anything else? Do you guys feel safe in the South? Thomas Otto. Not if you wear a Yankees hat. Even though it's come a long way, but you don't wear your Yankees hat down here.
I'm a big-time Yankees fan, and I wear a Yankees hat a lot. But if we leave the greater Nashville area, I take it off.
To the more southern spots. Like we were saying, if we have to drive away to a different county, I want to just say one quick story, and then I want to respond to a couple comments here. But a couple years ago, we went on like a tiny little road trip around the area with his sister and her husband. And we ended up in this small town. And I was like, this is such a sweet town. Like, why isn't it growing? And what, do you know what I'm talking about? Or did you see it?
I'm assuming that. Oh, what you're talking about.
Yeah. So it's so beautiful. I'm like, we should think about maybe moving here. It's so cute. Well, it's Pulaski, and it was the home of the Klan. And like, I'm just from New York showing up. This was like 15 years ago without any context. And so I think now that I've been here, I'm like, okay, there's certain areas where like you just want to be careful still.
And I think in fairness, like the New York side of things, I don't think it's necessary that they, there's a problem with me, but I think it's more about the sensibilities that come with New York on the whole.
Like they assume something about you that you are not. Like we're not from the city, we're not. I mean, I'm a little bit of a rude talker, fast talker, but
it's like there's the fear that you're going to come in and bring like New York City politics with you and things like that, which is a big reason why I don't live in New York anymore. The
idea that we're like what are we going to bring with us? Let's see. There was someone I want to say. I think it's Logan Das. I don't know if I said that right, but thank you. He said, or she. Or I don't know. I've always enjoyed your channel because you discuss ethnicity without any hint of anti-whiteism. You're from a totally fact-based perspective. Yeah, I don't have any anti-anything, which is I always find it interesting in some of these comments where people bring a lot to the video. I'm like, I didn't say that because I don't have anti-anything. I think for me, getting more information about stuff has helped me to understand things better. That's always a good thing.
Bradford Sanders, I once we get into Florida, then I'm okay usually. Like whenever we drive to Florida.
He said you can wear your Yankees hat in Tampa.
It's pretty safe in Florida for the most part.
It's not so bad. Again, it has changed a lot, but I felt like fighting words to like put on your Yankees hat down here. It was like it was not smart for a long time.
It was a big deal for a while.
Yeah. This person, what a quaint clans town. Yeah, I was like, why is this town not thriving? It's so cute. The houses are amazing. I'm like, I didn't know. Let's see. My reason said to contact the creator of the series, see if I could react to those videos. That's a really good idea. I might reach out to her. I really like that. See, Detroiter here from Toronto. Go Leafs. Is that real? Is it really the Toronto Leafs?
Yeah, the Maple Leafs.
Oh my gosh, that seems like such a like a joke, like the Leafs. That's so cute. Let's see, Thunder Loco. One question: how can white Mexican figure out what race they are? Remember, Mexican isn't a race, and if I don't look indigenous, so I don't know if you were here for maybe like 15 or 20 minutes ago, but I'm working on a video right now. There was a court case about this in 1896, and my ancestor was going through this at the same time in San Antonio. The court case was in San Antonio. Are Mexicans white? And according to the United States at the time, no, they weren't white, and they couldn't be citizens. But then it ended up getting ruled that they were white. So it's really interesting. And Mexican is not a nationality.
They didn't say
nationality. Or not national, I'm sorry, an ethnicity. Even though 23andMe sent me an email congratulating me that I was Mexican on my first DNA test.
Well, this is probably going to be very unpopular
with Papel Picado
with this crowd, because a lot of the things I say are unpopular, it seems.
Maybe you should text it to me
but
first.
As a Mexican American myself, I would say don't worry about it. It's just not that important to know what race you technically qualify.
Well, what about
as,
if you're
in my mind?
Yeah, but
I mean, it's said right in there too, like as a white Mexican. So I mean, if you're considering yourself a white Mexican, I would say probably just go with white if you feel so inclined. But it's like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem super important to me.
Yeah, he's here with me on the live stream. Isn't that what marriage is about? Here with me. Some of the discussions we have had in our early years of marriage, there was a lot of crying on my side. But now we can laugh about it. We can laugh. Let's see. What if you're European in Mexico? Yeah, that's like Marilyn Monroe's family. I think her mom was born in Mexico.
Well, I mean,
but she wasn't obviously, like, she's Mexican, but not really.
No,
they were Americans.
This is where I can be very ignorant.
Okay.
I'm assuming Spain counts as Europe, right? Or does that not count?
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of Mexicans.
Well, what else would it be?
I'm just saying. I feel like there's so many like weird micro considerations on this stuff that somebody could freak out.
No, there are, because I got a comment yesterday that someone.
That's not European, it's Iberian.
Someone wants to let me know that they didn't acknowledge me as Italian American. I was like, thank you, sir. But then they also said, and especially because Africa starts in Naples. And I'm like, well, I was born in Albany, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, people could be a little too touchy about that. Let's see. Did you see the Loving movie? No, I didn't. I didn't see that. Will I cry at that? Daniel like always lets me. He'll be like, "What movie do you want to watch?" And then he sees what I have like ready on the screen. He's like, but I like it.
I don't know about this whole Mitt Romney coming from Mexico. That's news to me. But Ted Cruz is Cuban.
He's Cuban. Didn't he like bust out Spanish during the Republican debate a long time ago?
Yeah, against Marco Rubio.
But was it good or was it not good? I don't know. Like I said, I could barely speak English.
Good to me.
I don't know. Let's see. Brenis the Menace. That's a hilarious name. Do us with the Appalachian, earlier Spanish, and Saponi mix count as mestizo? I don't know. This is where like really creepy caste system stuff starts coming in from Spain, and I want to talk about it. They have like a poster. I mean, it's like a painting, but to me, I saw it online. It was like a poster, and they're like, "Here's 36 different ways we can separate everybody," and it was pretty crazy. I think mestizo was a specific thing. One of my ancestors in San Antonio was listed as a coyote as a baby. I can't remember what coyote is. I think it's African and indigenous, but I can't remember. But yeah, they have all kinds of crazy stuff like that.
Just so you know, the camera will probably shut off any minute.
Okay. We're over an hour. Okay, this was so much fun. Should we do this every month? You don't have to do it every single month. Let me know if you think we should. And if you haven't seen the video where I go back to New York, we just put it out on Friday. It's a real short one. I wasn't even going to put it out. I was going to send it to my mom and my aunts, but I thought I'll just put it out. So go check that out. Thank you so much, Mariana. I appreciate that. hopefully the camera won't turn off on us. So we'll say goodbye and we will talk soon. Thank you so much. See you guys. Next video is on Friday and it'll be a spicy one. So don't miss it. All right. And I don't know how to turn this off to end it. Okay. Okay, bye.